Good morning. Welcome to Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church. Special welcome to those of you watching on Zoom. We're so glad you're here with us. And if you watch us in the future, I hope that you feel spirit as you spend time with us today. If you're visiting for the very first time, a very warm welcome. I want you to know that Heritage is a welcoming and affirming place, a place that recognizes all spiritual journeys and provides real community for you to show up as your full, authentic self. We honor our diversity. Our diversity makes us strong. You have a sheet that lists both our order of service and on the back a number of announcements about what's going on. You can take a look at that anytime. There's also additional information on our website at huuc.net. If you are here in the sanctuary with us for the first time today, there's a guest book in the back. We'd ask that you'd sign that so that we can reach out to you if you'd like. You can always tell us not to if you write a little note. We would honor your privacy. We also have a guest book on Zoom now. So if you're joining us for the first time on Zoom, or maybe you've come before and haven't ever given us your information, we'd love for you to sign that. Same thing. We'll reach out to you if you'd like. We'll respect any wishes not to. I'd ask that you have an electronic device with you, that you turn that off this morning. All sorts of sounds are a welcome part of our worship, except for those dings. We will, and you know, I did it again. I think I've forgotten about our potluck at least 3 times now, but we will have a potluck after the service. Please join us. If you forgot to, no worries. There always seems to somehow be enough. I do have one more special announcement from Barb Rohr about the rummage sale, so I'll invite her to come on up. It doesn't just magically happen on its own.
Thank you, Bethany. As she said, I'm Barbara Rohr, or Barb Rohr, and I coordinate our church rummage sale, which this year will be the first weekend in March. Last year we hit over $5,000 in sales, and I hope to top that this year. I cannot do it without your help. So please begin setting aside household items and more to donate. You can see a full list of the items needed on our website and on various wanted posters, wanted flyers posted throughout the church. Please, all donations need to be clean and in good working order, and they need to be priced. You'll find pricing guidelines and pricing stickers in the Great Hall to the right of the coffee machine. And because of space limitations at this beloved church, we cannot accept any donations in this physical facility until February 22nd, thanks to Lacey, who is allowing us to store things in the maker space, which is the first classroom next to the Heritage Room. Just an FYI, the rummage sale will be open to the public on Friday and Saturday, March 6th and 7th, from 9 to 1 p.m. But you all and your families and friends can come to the pre-sale on Thursday evening from 5 to 8. So keep that in mind. And one other thing, I will need volunteers to help make this thing work. And you guys are always great about coming forward. Look for the sign-up sheet. It'll be coming out early in February. If you have any questions, come see me. Thank you. Thank you, Bethany.
Thank you, Barb. Our guest minister this morning will now lead us in our call to worship.
Good morning. My name is Jeff LaBonde. I use he, him pronouns. And I am a ministerial intern at the UU Church of Lexington, where your Reverend Bill did his internship just a couple years ago. This morning, we are going to sing and feel and pray and be hope. Insistent hope. With eyes wide open to the realities before us, and in that spirit, I'm going to open our time of worship together with a grounding, somber, empowering poem written just a few days ago by a ministerial colleague of mine, the Reverend Kate Lohr. It is entitled, "It Could Have Been Me." It could have been me, that is the terrible truth of it. Not metaphor, not slogan, body for body possibility. A woman with a voice that would not stay seated. A mother who knew children are not abstractions. A poet who believed words belong in the street when the street is on fire. I have stood where the air tightens. I have felt the sideways glance turn sharp as a badge. I have raised my body as punctuation, a period placed after enough. Like Renee, I know the cost of noticing, how cruelty prefers silence, how bigotry grows bold when unopposed, how love, when practiced publicly, is called dangerous. I have walked toward grief that was not mine alone, held signs like fragile shields, spoken names of the powerful that they wanted erased. I have trusted that solidarity is not safe, just necessary. Renee was not reckless. She was faithful to a stubborn belief that no one is illegal, that mothers should not have to beg for mercy in a language of fear, that the state should never answer compassion with a gun. I am still here. That's accident, not virtue. The line between us was thin as a heartbeat, thin as a decision made by someone trained to obey without imagining. So I say her name to keep my own honest. I say her name so my children know what courage looks like when it is unarmed. I say her name because poets are witnesses before they are anything else. It could have been me, which means I must live as if it matters. With my body aligned to my words, with my love unhidden, with my refusal intact. For Renee, for all of us who keep stepping forward, knowing the risk, knowing the cost, knowing that silence has already killed enough.
As Laura lights our chalice, please, with me, visualize its light guiding us into the year that's now unfolding. Please rise in body or spirit, and we'll sing hymn number 345, "With Joy We Claim the Growing Light." We will remain standing afterwards to recite our covenant together.
With
we affirm that love is the spirit of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. You may be seated.
All right, good morning. How are we this morning? Good. Okay. I want for you to picture in your mind your favorite tree. Do you have a favorite tree? A Christmas tree. Okay. So that could be a favorite tree, and I think many people would agree with you. It might not be the perfect tree for the illustration we're about to have. Imagine your favorite tree that has roots in the ground. You know, some Christmas trees are like that. They come to you with roots, and then you send it back, and they send you a new tree the next year. Or they send you the same tree that's grown the next year. Has anyone ever seen these? No? Okay. They are mythical creatures, I promise. Okay, so imagine in your mind a tree with roots, okay? Now, there are myths that we have about trees in our minds, okay? Like sometimes, do you think the trees have like a single root that goes just deep into the ground? No, you're right. No, I can never get anything away from you all. You all already know all these things. Trees actually have roots that spread. Roots of trees can spread as far into the ground as the tree is tall. And we sometimes think when we see trees drawn, right, it looks like the bottom of the roots look just like the top of the tree. Also not true. The root systems of trees can be like 10 times as big as the canopy of a tree. Yes? Yes? Can you imagine that? So whatever you see, it's hard to imagine right now because most of our trees don't have leaves on them. But if you think about what we see on a tree up here, right, there is so much else going on underground. And there's a lot going on underground with tree roots, okay? Trees it's not just a one-way path with trees, right? We think that roots do this thing where they grab nutrients and they bring them to the tree, right? That's a critical function of a root. However, it's actually a two-way highway. And trees bring back other things into the soil, which is really sugars that help have microbes come to them so that underground, next to the roots of trees, there are like little tiny villages of microbes all around the roots of trees. And there's oxygen down there. They're not all just like packed in. There's all these cool things happening underground. And they do a really important thing, okay? They do lots of really important things. They keep the tree that's above ground stable and solid. They feed it, and they help it do its work. All of these things are happening underground. And it makes a tree strong up above the ground. Now, if we want to think about it, right, we are the above ground parts of the tree. We are the parts of the tree that we see. We are the parts of the tree that are in the world, that are doing important things in the world, that are being of service, that are doing kindness, that are helping make our world a better place. So if you've made flyers or signs or made cards or made calls or talked to people about the world that you want to see, we've all done those things together. All of those things are the parts of the tree that we see. And you as the person are like the trunk of the tree, and all these things you do are the canopy. However, if you want your canopy to be as bright and healthy as possible, you have to nurture all the stuff that's beneath the ground, okay? And we do that a lot of kinds of ways. We do that by making connections with one another. Incidentally, did you know that tree roots are not all by themselves underground? If you are a tree next to another tree and your roots are moving around, you might be like, hello, sage roots, I'm just going to come right underneath you so that I can make some space. So like Mari's roots and William's roots and Sage's roots are all navigating the world underground together. They are all interbundled next to each other. Yeah? So when we make connections here at a church or with our friends or with our families, we're doing this important thing of being supportive together. But there are other things we do. We take care of ourselves. We get enough sleep. We eat good foods. These things help nurture our bodies. But we also have to do things that will nurture our spirits, right? So that might be yoga. Who does yoga in here? Any yoga doers? Okay. Who plays sports? Okay. Who meditates? Oh, no. If you have come to Peace Camp, you have meditated. So just know the answer could be yes there. Okay. There you go. All of these are ways that we help ground ourselves. That's what it's called. It's called being grounded in something bigger than ourselves so that our tree in the world can withstand all sorts of wind and rain and things happening around us. And this church is a place where we learn to do that work together. Like this church is a place where we learn from each other and we teach each other how to be grounded. That means you all learn from us and we all learn from you, and together we make the most grounded, solid root system that we can. And those are the things that we can do that help our world immensely. Okay? All right, so we're about to get up and we're going to go into the kitchen for Ari today. We're making king cake cheesecake bars for potluck. Okay. You all are going to go down this, William, you're going to lead, okay? You all are going to go like right down this row and into the kitchen. I'm going to go there and grab my things and meet you at the door, okay? Now, before we go, we're going to be sent off with a blessing, right? And our blessing, this community's blessing for all of you, is that you all might be the strongest tree that you can be. And our commitment to you as you receive that blessing is that we do everything that we can for you to help your roots grow deep and strong and connected with ours. Okay? All right, William, lead the way.
As I sing Joni Mitchell's Circle Game, I would welcome you to sing along. I think we all know the chorus, at least most of us. You're welcome to sing wherever you would like. Yesterday, a child came out to wonder, caught a dragonfly inside a jar, fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in a circle game. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams, and words like, when you're older, must appease them, and promises of someday make those dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. 16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town. And they tell them, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet too slow the circles down. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game. And so the years spin by, and now the child is 20. Though their dreams have lost some grandeur coming true, there'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams and plenty, before that last revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. Can't return, we can only look behind from where we came, and go round and round and round in the circle game, and go round and round and go round and round and round in the circle game.
I speak for all of us when I say thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Universe. Tracy, go ahead and come on up. Tracy will sharing our abundance recipient for the week.
There are many ways that circles go round and round, and for 30 years, Hope Springs Institute has been a place of refuge and peace in the world. It's a retreat center that's located about an hour east of here in rural Adams County. Since 2007, the Heritage Women have gathered there for our annual church retreat, and it's been a true blessing for us to be there. Whether you're a woman or not, this is the mission of Hope Springs Institute. We work to cultivate global peace through empowered leadership, innovative learning, and personal healing. Our vision is a more peaceful, equitable, and inclusive world. It could be the vision statement for this church, for each of us, for any place, but that place on the planet is a truly special place. They have encountered, like many not-for-profits, a lot of challenges with rising labor costs, rising food costs, challenges of aging buildings, and we know that experience here living in this building. So we welcome your donations today for Hope Springs Institute, for they can continue the world of living in a peaceful, inclusive world. The morning offering will be received.
moving into our Candles of Community ritual. This is one of the ways that we build those deep root systems. And so I'd ask you, if you have a joy or a sorrow to share with your community, to line up against the sides of the sanctuary, come forward to the microphone, which Tracy Joe will hand to you. Share that joy or sorrow briefly with us. Our caring committee does a great job of noting all of those down and following up so that we can support one another. Do keep in mind that we have the rest of the service to go through. And talk to me after the potluck. If you really need to pour your heart out, come talk to me. You may come to the front. And as always, we light one last candle for the sorrows and joys that remain unspoken. Are there any candles on Zoom, Lucy? All right.
I got to be honest, getting his name wrong actually makes the point more effectively. So today's meditation practice is a centering activity for us to do together before I lead us in a prayer. I first encountered this particular practice in Resmaa Menakem's excellent book on healing generational racial trauma called My Grandmother's Hands. So, with one hand or both on our bellies and our eyes closed if you'd like, we're going to take a full breath in and then hum deeply from our belly 3 times around, followed by a few moments of silence. Our notes and rhythms need not match, though they may. During that time, I'd encourage us to pay attention to what our bodies and minds are experiencing. And when the humming comes to an end, see how those vibrations have made you feel. There's no right or wrong way. Let's start with a slow, deep breath in together. This day, this moment in which we find ourselves here together is not like any other. And of course, the same was true yesterday, as it will certainly be again tomorrow. Every wave that swells within us foams, then breaks, then floods as far as it is meant to, before the ebb begins its return to the ocean. Even as the next arrives, and the next. And the tides themselves are each their own. They have so many names. But this particular day, here and now, we find ourselves in an unfamiliar, undeniably rising tide around us, in the midst of an uncommon storm. Every wave larger than the one before it. So today, we must look to our ancestors for guidance and wisdom. Their stories, their myths, their divine ceremonies, gods and goddesses, they were created for us, here and now. Our living faith needs their power today. Our collective confusion needs such stories to find rest in the mysteries they reveal. They were created for us. And with love, justice, and our resolve, may we each find another divine ceremony right here in our streets with our neighbors, perhaps even with those who have been convinced they are our enemies. Such a living witness is always what our tradition asks of us, but today's is not like yesterday's. And here we believe together that tomorrow will be and can be different as well. Because our ancestors have told us stories about such moments where we must rise up. None of them and none of us get to know what tomorrow's tide will bring. As our opening poem put it, it is not safe, only necessary. And we pray today in any and all of the names that are with us, even right now and right here. Amen. So for the briefest of moments, I had a terrible idea for an extremely loaded sermon title. You ready? Project 2026. And we laugh or groan precisely because that title actually doesn't land as funny or inspiring at this moment so much, or at least that's not the only way it lands. Rather, in a place of time that is so deeply fractured, it comes, for me, with more of a confused, deep, Nonetheless, the holiday whirlwind is in our rearview mirror, and as always, it has come with everything from gratitude to grief, anxiety to peace, hope, and fear. Life rarely gets to unfold one without the other close at hand. Last week, both here and where I was in Lexington, we gathered in the gentle glow of our sacred chalice, each with a small paper in hand, writing down what we wished to release and watching it go up in flames, a beautiful sacred ceremony. And we have some other traditions right now upon us this time of year. I almost don't want to say it. Right, we're 11 days in. How's your resolution going? Do you still do those? Last week, I listened to Reverend Bill's sermon and where he described his luxury 2026 271-page planner full of goals and deadlines and a self-care checklist. I mean, that's impressive. Lots of room, as he put it, right, for the books that probably won't be read and the bucket list to remember what you didn't do this time next year. In my personal experience, by Valentine's Day, the resolutions, along with their hopes and dreams, usually will have been dashed with caramel and chocolate. And I think it's fair to say that it feels like our hopes having been dashed is a fair summary of 2025 and these busy 11 days of 2026 so far. And so we sit in this moment, which is traditionally felt as a time to reimagine and reignite, and many of us are hoping that the candles we lit on Christmas Eve and Hanukkah, Diwali, and Kwanzaa will still be burning at all by the end of this year. And with what we are seeing and feeling in the world all around us, our visceral instincts sometimes cringe at the hint of a suggestion of considering hope. You feel any of that? A little tightness in the chest, the shoulders want to slump. Part of me literally wants to roll my eyes at hope. Whatever. Let's come back down to earth, right? The doubts, the cynicism, the exhaustion, our eye-rolling urge to dismiss hope as childish. Such times of calculated confusion are no accident. the oppressors rely on our resignation. They seek to encourage it subtly and more not so subtly at every turn. And so, we must find unity around a different kind of hope. A hope we must choose to be. A hope we sustain together. Not just a supposed solution. Rather, a hope which is an act of spiritual resistance. There isn't time to wait. There really never is. However, now that I've made such a declaration of sorts, let me step back and spend a few minutes giving a voice to the doubters within each of us. And prove that hope is, in fact, not the answer. Grumpy face. So, for such a purpose, we need to do some reflecting on what we mean with this simple four-letter word, hope. Are we talking about, say, hoping for $1 million to appear under my bed tomorrow morning? In case you're wondering, I did try that from like preschool through second grade or so, and in hindsight, it really wasn't worth the investment. Though, I guess it was as effective as counting sheep. Silver lining to such hope, I guess. By middle school, I had become very experienced at hope. That is, hoping the kid who had scribbled in my notebook would fall off the swing set at recess. Pretty sure a couple of those times when I channeled my thoughts really, really correct, it worked. Put a spell on you. Or at least, I hope so. Late in my college years, in my high school years, I converted to Christianity, which I had not been raised with. I prayed and hoped so much, so earnestly, so well-intentioned. I prayed for my friends and family to find God, to open their hearts to Jesus, to accept God's truth with a capital T, so they could be saved by thinking exactly like me. Or so I hoped. Chapter 13 of the Tao Te Ching describes this sort of hope, and I quote, "Success is as dangerous as failure. Hope is as dangerous as fear." What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up or down the ladder, your position is shaky. When you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you'll always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is as hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms. They arise from thinking of the self. When we don't see the self as self, what do we have to fear? Such ancient wisdom is trying to suggest that whether we're talking about my fear or my hope, it's that me, my, mine part that creates a lot of the dilemmas and the illusions. So, once I had decided definitely not to call this sermon Project 2026, I then thought of 2 brief questions for the title: what's next for me? What's next for us? But then I decided that the first question, what's next for me, is potentially still covered in those layers of hyper-individualism in our culture. I need more, more, more. We hinge so much of our identities on our success and hope, on our dreams coming true, our imaginary future outcomes beyond our control. We become creators of aspects of our own suffering, and sometimes even the suffering of others. Need that new thing. I need to hear that latest piece of tragic news. I hope there's a clever new meme about some of my enemies suffering. At least then I'd feel like we did something successful today. This sort of hope and success, which aligns with the Tao Te Ching's disapproval, they're all phantoms born of our self-centered preoccupations, with yesterday and tomorrow, and fueled by a culture that never wants to let itself simply be in this moment. But that's not all there is to it either, because our culture gives us another equally unsatisfying option, the flip side of naive optimism: cynicism, fear, or perhaps most simply hopelessness. So I need your help. We're going to do a little call and response of sorts to get a feel for the cultural air we're breathing in this time and place. All right, I got to grab my microphone. Testing. 1, 2, we're working. So this side of the room, all right, your team optimism, okay? Your job is to respond with bright-eyed, bushy-tailed enthusiasm to my prompts, all right? So your phrase is, anything is possible. Ready? Let's give it a try. Anything is possible. Beautiful, you got it. So this side of the room, your team pessimism. Your job is to respond with a heavy dose of cynical realism. Your phrase is, come back down to earth. Let's give it a try. Come back down to earth. There we go. Good. So here we go. Let's give it a try. So if you just work hard enough, this is just the way it's always been. But love conquers all. Anything is possible. The system is broken beyond repair. Come back down to earth. America is the greatest country on earth. Anything is possible. The system is completely rigged anyway. Come back down to earth. But we just have to vote in the next election. Now, we just get to choose the lesser of two evils. If you can imagine it, though, you could do it. Anything is possible. No, this is just the way it's always been. Come back down to earth. Can you feel that shaky ladder? Those contradictory forms of common sense, right? Everything I just said is stuff that passes in some contexts as common sense. They're not mine and yours, theirs and ours, right and wrong, black and white. Each and every one of them is a thought that I have thought, a feeling that I have felt, and I bet you have too. Right? Opposite directions, all mean. I am not one or the other. We are both. Everyone has such mixed feelings. How about you? Sometimes? Every time? All the time? That's the ladder. That's the shaky ladder that our minds and bodies are deeply familiar with. Up and down, your position is shaky. So, how do we get our feet on the ground? Related to the time for all ages very much. How do we genuinely embrace this circle game without just giving up on that four-letter word of our time? Hope is not a phantom of the self, not a thing I will acquire, not an accomplishment I will do, not a magical moment I will experience, or a status I will be given by anyone else. Rather, we need a hope that is grounded in what is real, in what we can touch, in what we can actually do. Not a hope that looks to the ladder, but a hope that feels the solid ground through which we can choose to perceive and participate in this beautiful tragedy called life. I found an image for this kind of hope on the beaches of Long Island when I was a Cub Scout with baby sea turtles. I brought a prop for that. I think they were technically diamondback turtles, but don't quote me on that, I was 9. We'd go camping on the bay right around the season when the nests would hatch. 100 tiny, determined creatures would scramble out of the sand and begin their frantic dash for the sea. Ghost crabs and seagulls after them, disorientation from the developed beach lice. The statistics for the journey of those turtles is pretty brutal. Maybe 1 in 1,000 of those hatchlings will make it to adulthood. The volunteers there knew this. They didn't stand there believing they could save everyone. They stood there, shielding the hatchlings, redirecting the lost ones, because they believed the action itself mattered. And what do you know? Some Cub Scouts felt the urge to go a little rogue, to grab one and just bring it to the Atlantic Ocean ourselves. And just to be clear, that's not the ideal way to do it, but we meant well. Of course, the cynical Cub Scout leader, the assistant pack leader with a cigarette in his mouth, it was the 80s, he'd say, you know, the blues and the stripers and the sharks are going to have the rest of them for dinner. What's the point? And of course, the Cub Scout in each of us has a simple answer. What's the point? This. And we go sprinting again toward the shoreline to watch one more fragile baby turtle find its way to the bay. That was it. All the odds stacked against us, all the more reason not to think about the math. We were making a difference for that one, right in front of us. And in doing so, in choosing to stand on the beach, to bear witness to that fragile struggle, we were also transforming ourselves into people of compassion and empathy. People who refuse to turn away, even when the odds were literally 1,000 to 1 against us. That is grounded hope. Hope that refuses to operate on the ladder at all. Not optimism, not fear, just this baby turtle, this one time, and again, and again. It's what author Rebecca Solnit describes when she says, and I quote, "Hope is an embrace of the unknown and the unknowable, an alternative to the certainty of both optimists and pessimists. Optimists think it will be fine without our involvement. Pessimists think the opposite. Both excuse themselves from acting. Hope is the belief that what we do matters, even though how and when it may matter, who and what it may impact, are not things we can know beforehand." So what happens next? The answer isn't a phrase or a sentence or a slogan. It's not a prediction either. It's a practice. A practice we must rehearse every day we can muster, even or especially in the smallest of ways. It is the deliberate, often difficult cultivation of hope that is not a wish, but a work. A hope with its feet on the muddy ground. May we learn from the determination of the turtle. Maybe they should write a kid's story about that. So I am inviting us into a shared intention as I close to practice this grounded hope together in 2026, to be for each other the human corridor on the beach, to choose to be the people whose actions match our values, even or especially when the statistics we look to are bleak. And so we arrive at the ground level of hope. Not a distant point on the horizon, not a day that may come, but the earth beneath our feet. In this very moment, no ladders required. Life itself, this fragile, determined struggle, unfolding. That's it. The road of eyes wide open, feet on the ground, insistent, belligerent hope is what we need to be ready for. And again, and again, and again. May it be so.
I invite you to rise if you're willing and able, and join in our closing hymn. It's an invitation. Come, come, whoever you are.
All right, this is the round. You know the drill. You'll be group one, you'll be group two. We'll sing it a bunch of times, it'll be great. This is the work too. Everybody together. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of living. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Group one. Come, come, whoever you are. Group two. Again, group one. Again, group two. Thank you.
As we extinguish our chalice, let's remember that we are not alone until we light this flame again next time.